Hi everyone, Robin back again. So I'm going to continue to follow up on some of the self-care things that we've been reviewing. And tomorrow, Sean and I will be doing a longer interview. So I will be posting that. Um, but I wanted to follow up with some other things. So we went over some of the quick and easy, simple self-care practices that you can do each and every day that you can incorporate into your life. And today I want to discuss some of the things that aren't as healthy for us that we may all find ourselves doing from time to time. That sometimes we're fully aware of the fact that these things aren't healthy for us, and sometimes we're not. Sometimes we find ourselves doing things out of old habits, and especially when you're in the process of changing your habits, because times are changing, people, and so is humanity. So is everything that's going on around us. The world is changing, and it is changing very, very quickly. So one of the things that really stood out to me that I wanted to talk about was social media. And again, um, I've done a lot of research on this. That's why you haven't seen a whole lot of me on my regular social media, like on Facebook and Instagram. And well, I'm TikTok handicapped. I'm learning, people. I'm trying, but I just haven't had time to get to it yet. But I really wanted to talk about the negative impact of too much social media. And when I say social media, I don't just mean the internet, um, you know, Facebook or Instagram or, YouTube, but I'm talking about the news, who you watch, what you watch, where are you putting your focus and attention, where are you directing your energy, and how are you feeling after you've watched something? Because if something moves through your body in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, then we really need to stop and think about what it is that we're watching. What effect is it having on our body and on our overall health and well-being? And I do mostly holistic health, but I also like to have the research that backs it up. Even though I'm an astrologer, even though I'm a psychic intuitive, there are things that you can, you can talk all day long, but some people want the science behind it. Some people, excuse me, don't need the science behind it because they listen to their bodies. Like I always say, listen to your body. It's the one thing in the world that will never lie to you is your body. Okay. So I'm going to go through this real quick. This will probably be about a 15 or 20-minute video. And just like the video on the simple self-care practices, this will also be a downloadable PDF that will be attached to the bottom of the video. Okay, needs to be added to my website. So that will keep me busy for the rest of the day, adding all these things and uploading. I think this is like the fourth or fifth video now. So let's talk about social media. Okay, how much time a day do you spend on your computer? How much time a day do you spend in front of the TV? And what are you focused on? Um, we live in this changing world where we want to be informed, but at the same time, um, we're going through this period of what is real and what is not real. What is the truth and what is not the truth? I don't want to come right out and use the word lie, but everyone has their own version of the truth. So there's no judgment. Whatever your version of the truth is, whatever resonates with you, whatever makes you feel well, if it moves through your body and with grace and ease, then fine. But if you find yourself watching something and you're not feeling well afterwards, or maybe you're not sleeping well, it'd be just the little signs in the beginning. When those little things start to build up, we start to feel really uncomfortable. Our body suffers. This is when we lose the ability to have clarity, where it becomes hard to make decisions because what is true and what isn't true. Okay. This is when we start to maybe have stomach issues or other things move through our body. Um, Maybe digestive issues, maybe um, not to become overly personal, but maybe, bowel issues where our body is just not processing right, or certain foods that we used to be able to eat that we loved. We're unable to eat them now because we're finding that they're affecting us and our body's processing them in a different way because our body is not um, operating to its um, I want to say fullest or highest potential, um, or in a way that is healthy for you. So, social media has become an undeniable and deeply integrated component of our society. That is true. Permeating the daily lives of individuals across all age groups and demographics. Again, this is true. What are you watching? What are your children watching? What are your elderly parents watching? Um, and what are they believing and what are they not believing? Which really is not ours to, I mean, as far as our children come, when it comes to small, younger age children, we do want to be mindful what they watch, what they're soaking in, because, um, some of the things are scary. They're scary for us, some of us. So we don't want our children to be growing up with feelings of fear and stress and anxiety. We don't want to be raising a generation, or another generation of um, panic-stricken, you know, depressed children living in fear. Um, so here we go. From instant communication and global networking to information sharing and entertainment, all these different digital platforms have fundamentally altered the way humans interact and perceive the world. How many times have you had one belief and maybe watched something on one of these social media platforms and it made you stop and think, and it made you stop and question yourself? We should not be questioning ourselves. Your first instinct is what you should go with. Always go with your first instinct. And you may be right and you may be wrong, but is it wrong to have your own belief system? I don't think it is, but there are people that may try to lead you to believe that you are wrong. And that's not for them to discern. To that's for you to discern what is right and wrong for you. Okay. Everyone's right and wrong is different for them. But we do want to be mindful of what especially our children are absorbing. So there are these parental um, things put in place for our children so that we can kind of sort of um, have a little bit of I don't like to use the word control, but monitor, so that we can monitor what they are taking in um, into their minds, and understand where they're coming from. If they become afraid or scared, or they're waking up in the middle of the night and they're not sleeping well, what are they taking in? And we want to be mindful of that. So initially viewed with considerable optimism for their potential to bridge geographical distances and foster a sense of global community, social media's persuasive influence is now increasingly scrutinized for its potential adverse effects on human health and overall well-being. A growing body of scientific research and mounting public concern have begun to illuminate a darker side to this technology, revealing significant negative impacts across various domains of health. This This report aims to provide a comprehensive and evidence-based analysis of these detrimental effects, exploring the key areas of mental health, physical health, and social relational well-being that are demonstrated um, by engagement with social media platforms. Okay, according to current research findings, the negative impacts on mental health through social media, increased anxiety and stress. Again, what are you watching? What are you taking in? Uh, is it disrupting your life? Are you feeling fear? Um, how is that moving through your body? How does it make you feel? And what are you doing to help nip that in the bud? So, social media platforms can inadvertently contribute to higher levels of anxiety and chronic stress. It can raise our cortisol levels. It can lead to depression. Um, some people believe every single word that they see on social media, whether it be TV, YouTube, or any of the other platforms, Facebook, Instagram. There's a lot of positivity. I don't want to make this all about negativity. There's a lot of positivity. Like watch things that are uplifting, watch things that make you laugh, watch things that are educational. There are educational things out there or entertaining things that are entertaining that, we need a good laugh and it's healthy to laugh. It helps raise your vibration. It makes you feel good to laugh. Okay. But some things out there are seriously dangerous to our overall health and well-being, to ours, to our family, to our children, um, and to the people that we care about. Although we cannot control everything that everyone chooses to watch, but there are other ways that we can use it. Use it to learn something. There's so many learning channels out there. Learn something new and exciting, or maybe there's something that you you want to study, and you know you can find some really good people on YouTube doing some really great work, and all over social media. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. It's a how are you using it? How are you taking the information and processing it? And what is good for you and what isn't? And how do you discern these things? Okay. So if something's causing you anxiety and stress and you're losing sleep, maybe you shouldn't be watching that anymore. Maybe you should be watching something else, something that helps cultivate the mind, and something that makes us laugh, and something that brings out our childlike curiosity, something that we want to interact with. There's some wonderful groups. Find some groups of like-minded people, people that share the same ideas as you do or the same beliefs as you do. There's so many things, from gardening groups to the spiritual groups to meditation groups to breathwork groups. I mean, there are so many positive things out there to help us navigate all these changes in our lives, right? So let's take advantage of the positive things. But unfortunately, we need to understand the negative impact of what we're watching in order to look for these positive things to help us to grow and expand and make the choices that are right for us individually. Okay. And then there's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. We all are afraid that we're going to miss something. You're not missing out on anything. If it's meant for you, it will pop up in your feed. The way the algorithms run, whatever you're watching, they're going to keep feeding you the same type of information. Every once in a while, they'll throw something in there that's a zinger. If you want to, if you're curious and you want to watch it, and then see how you feel afterwards. If you're not feeling good about it, don't watch it anymore. You don't have to subscribe to every channel that pops up. The only thing you have to do is what is best for you. And what else? Um, that is a real thing now. That is really a real thing. And you know, when I was younger, we just called it the nosy neighbor. Now it's like this the social media, like that we just cannot seem to live without. We're becoming addicted. It's a unhealthy addiction. It can become an unhealthy addiction, is what I should say. Let me reword that. So, and then there is comparison, right? Because we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other. Why is this person, you know, here and doing this, and why am I not able to do that? We're not all built the same way. We're not all supposed to be doing the same things. We're all on our own path. And that's what makes us all special, and that's what makes us all unique. And then there are things that maybe you may watch that, and some of these titles are very misleading as well. And then they suck us in to watch something, and then we find out that it's not really what the description of the video says. So it could be something that's triggering. Maybe it triggers an old childhood wound or some deep-seated trauma. Now you're really, really upset, and it could be maybe like if you can't sleep and maybe it's late at night, and maybe you don't have someone or are unable to contact someone to talk to help you get through that moment when you really, really need someone. My friends are located all throughout the world, so no matter what time of the day or night it is, I can usually find someone to talk to if I need to. You just send out that 911. You can always catch me on my page on Facebook, Robin Carroll. I'm awake at different hours of the day and night. So if I'm up, I'll respond. If I'm not up, I'll respond as soon as I see the message. And there are other people like me out there. I'm not the one and only holy one, but there are people that you can reach out to. So just be mindful. You should not allow other people to make you feel inadequate. Not everyone has the same strengths. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. We all have different gifts. We all do different things. If we all did the same thing the same way every day, then we wouldn't be unique. We wouldn't be individual. We wouldn't be this beautiful part of the puzzle of this wonderful world. And, you know, not everyone, we don't want to be the same as everyone else. And we don't need to compare ourselves, but especially women, I think there's a lot of pressure on women on young girls to look a certain way, and to behave a certain way and to wear certain clothes and to wear, I mean, there's always been those kind of things, like children get that pressure from school, okay? Especially, young girls. But to have it in school and then come home and to have it on social media and be comparing themselves to these um yeah, pencil thin models that have been maybe airbrushed with this perfect flawless skin, that maybe they're I never use what do you call it? Just anything that to changes my a filter, because I don't know how to I don't know how to use them. Okay. Number one, I don't know how to use them. And number two, I just believe in aging gracefully. We are who we are. And we should always love and accept ourselves exactly the way we are. Do we all have some kind of issue? Yeah, pretty much. We all have something. None of us are perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect. But, as I said in a video the other day, perfection does not exist. It does not exist. So, we're led to believe that these things exist. And now with AI, oh my goodness, everyone's using AI, and there's all these images of perfection. And, people think that this is what everyday people really look like. And hey, some of them do. And if you do, God bless you. You know, I'm sure you worked hard. And that's another thing that people don't realize, all of the hard work that it takes to put in. If you're some of these, but now I'm thin. Some of these women I've seen, um, that's I'm getting pretty good at picking out AI now, because what I noticed is if you're someone like me who can read energy, or you're intuitive, or you have a psychic ability, what you realize is when you see something that's AI, you don't feel the same kind of energy. You cannot reach into their energy because they don't exist. There is no energy there. Or what I feel is something like just this really erratic like electricity type of thing. Um it's actually hard to explain, and it's really, really weird. So, you know, a lot we're comparing ourselves to things that don't even exist, people. Stop. That's what I'm saying. Stop. Do not let your children, especially your daughters, do that. It's so unhealthy for them, especially when they're going through a time where, or maybe, they're just coming into themselves. They're just getting growing into their bodies, are really going through a lot of changes, and they're under a lot of pressure just from their peers. So let's not put any more pressure on them. Okay. And there are channels out there that are healthy. And what I would do is I would encourage, if I had a teenage daughter, I think right now what I would do is encourage her to be herself, start her own YouTube channel, and encourage other people's um their age to follow them, and to teach. And for the young girls that are out there doing that, thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to step out and to be who you are, and to stand in your authenticity and shine your light in such a beautiful, bright way, and that takes a lot of strength, especially at a young age, where we often fear judgment from our peers and the pressure from our peers. So, here we go. Let's see. What else? So, users are continuously exposed to idealized and often unrealistic portrayals of life, achievements, physical appearances, prompting them to evaluate their own realities against these carefully constructed online personas, which can trigger significant stress and anxiety. The design of these platforms is intended to maximize user engagement through constant updates, notifications, and opportunities for comparison. And this ironically cultivates a hyper stimulating environment that just creates more anxiety and stress, extending beyond simple social connection to the realm of chronic psychological strain. That is so true. And is what I was just talking about. The reward system associated with social media interactions, primarily through the receipt of likes, comments, and shares, coupled with the innate human tendency for social evaluation and the fear of social exclusion, creates a powerful psychological dynamic. You know, basing basing who you are on the number of likes and shares your video gets is not healthy. That is not realistic, and that is not healthy. If you are spreading good things and you have great numbers, that is fabulous. But if you are spreading things that you know are not healthy and not true, just to get numbers, just to get monetized, just to get attention and to be the center of attention, I want you to think about where those people are coming from. Is it because they're not getting attention in other areas of their life? What is lacking in them that makes them behave in this manner? That this is the way that they seek attention. Okay, because I truly don't believe it's all about money. I believe that it's about some insecurity or some unresolved issues within themselves. So let's be mindful of that before we start comparing ourselves to that perfect AI image woman that's not even real. Let's be mindful of how we are comparing ourselves to that, or not comparing ourselves to that, which is a much healthier thing, which is what I would suggest. When I see something created with AI, if it's like a cartoon type animated video, sometimes I'll watch it. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're really educational. Sometimes people are uncomfortable to show their faces or to speak on video. And some of these faceless channels, they don't want you to know who they are because they're not being authentic in themselves. And it is about numbers and it is about money. Okay. My channel's not monetized. So what I put out, and even if my channel were monetized, I would still be putting out what is coming from in here. Okay. I will never change who I am. um, some things can be bought and some things can't. And I'm one of those things, and this channel is one of those things that will never be bought. Okay. Um, Elevated risk of depression. Okay. Substantial body of evidence derived from studies, cross-sectional surveys, and experimental research consistently points to a significant association between increased engagement with social media and a higher risk of developing symptoms, particularly among young adolescents and young adults who are navigating critical stages of identity formation and brain um, maturity. Landmark research has indicated that adolescents who dedicate more than 3 hours daily to social media platforms face a doubled risk of reporting poor mental health outcomes, including symptoms indicative of depression. Let that sink in. If you are spending more than 3 hours a day, or letting your children spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, there's a higher risk of depression. Also, poor body image because they're comparing themselves, like I talked about earlier. Now, I think children are born now with a cell phone in their hand. Cell phones didn't come out until I was like, I'm gonna say like in my 30s for me. I don't know exactly what year cell phones became affordable for the everyday person. Um, but children face enough challenges on a daily basis. I don't really think that we need to put more on them. Um, they might not like us for this, but maybe some time constrictions or restrictions around social media. It's almost impossible with a teenager. And you will be the meanest mom or dad in the whole wide world when you take that cell phone away. But there are times that I used to have a rule: no phones at the dinner table. This is family time, and yeah, it didn't go over well. And there are so many things: Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, um, Instagram. Um, Oh my God. And there's so many new platforms that, and some of them are just full of venom, and others are spreading beautiful, beautiful messages, which is what we want to do. So how do we discern, what our children are watching and not watching? We need to sit down and have these conversations with our children. We need to let them know that they're perfect just the way that they are. And that if they're going through a certain stage, that this too shall pass. We live in a world of immediate gratification. Everyone wants to be perfect. And, no teenage girl wants a pimple on the end of her nose. But those things happen with hormonal changes. No teenage boy wants to be, you know, or wants to be the weakling or portrayed as the weakling, or, then there's the ugly duckling syndrome. Listen, we all have been through these stages and we all have survived them, but we didn't have the pressure from social media that these children have now. And even as adults, I see women and men comparing themselves to others. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. And there's this, the way the algorithms are set, it's like to keep sucking us in, right? It's like chocolate. You just can't eat one. Or if you open a bag of chips and you're like, I'm just going to have one, and you wind up eating half of the bag. It's the same concept, you know? So these are things that are really, really, really important. Um, so, I mean, there have been teenagers who have been bullied online. There have been children that have taken their lives. There, you know, and this is the sad part of it. But there have also been wonderful, beautiful things where, where someone, you know, has maybe made a post on social media saying that, they don't want to be here anymore. They don't want to live like this anymore. And people have stepped in and actually offered assistance and actually helped these people navigate some challenging times in their lives. So that's the upside of it. So, I'm not judging social media as saying that it's something that needs to go away. I'm saying that, like AI, like anything, like chocolate, you know, uh, some things in certain amounts are good for us, but too much of any one thing is bad for us. So take that take that phone away for an hour and send your child outside to play without it. Without it. Kids are spending a lot of time sitting in front of video games. Um, Even their homework is done on computers now. We have children that don't know how to read and write cursive. They've done everything on a computer. They know how to type, but they don't know how to write. It's a little bit scary. I often wonder how many of our children can actually read our Constitution. Can your child read the Constitution? Your teenage child. I'm not talking about the 4-year-olds. I'm talking about the ones that are at appropriate age. When they start reading around 4 or 5 now. I'm not sure. I don't really remember. But how many of our children can read our Constitution? How many know what it is? What are all this time on social media? What are they learning and what are they not learning that they should be learning? Okay. And they shouldn't be bullied. If they're being bullied on social media, report it, block the bully. And if it's playing over to where it's someone that they know that you live nearby, and they're being bullied while walking home from school or on the bus or something like that, report it. Report it. This is your child. This is your child's life. And we always want what's best for our children. And if it's happening to you, report it. Stand up for yourself. Don't fear standing up for yourself. This is a time when we're taking our power back, and what rights we have left in this country, we really need to stand up for, and we need to fight to get our rights back, especially women. But all of us as a society, we should not be ruled by social media. Social media is a tool, and it should be used as a tool to connect with friends and family. Or that's how I initially wound up on social media. My daughter moved far away, and when she moved away, she actually set up my Facebook account for me. I didn't even know how to do it. I wasn't even on social media until you could check my page. I think it's like 2011 or 12, something like that, whenever my daughter moved away. And it was a way to keep in contact with her so that I could, because she has an iPhone and I have an Android, so that we could talk face to face using Facebook Messenger so that I could see her in person and know that she was okay. Um, so um, Here we go. Let's see. So higher rates of depression, body image problems, you know, uh, young girls, especially who are not eating because they're starving themselves to death. Cases of anorexia up, um, lowered self-esteem, negative body image. Um, we talked about the cyberbullying. They may be feeling inadequate, um, and have a lower self-worth. Um, this cyberbullying and online harassment, that is something to be really, really concerned about, um, especially with our children, but also with ourselves, and the stalkers. I've had stalkers. I've had to report people. I've had several. I've had, several stalkers. So everyone be mindful. And it's just not women being stalked, it's women stalking men. So be careful. Be careful of that as well. Okay, so social comparison inherently facilitated by social media can promote feelings of inadequacy about one's life and physical appearance, leading to lower self-esteem. Social media significantly magnifies the negative impacts of social comparison, um, particularly concerning self-esteem and body image. I think that's for all women, to be honest with you, and possibly men as well. I can't really speak for men because I'm not a man. Um, but you do see a lot of those videos of the muscle men, you know, um, doing the little dance, which is highly enjoyable. But even when you stop and think about it, I'm sure that men may be comparing themselves or to to those men, or you know, or maybe upset that their wives or their girlfriends or their partners are watching and liking videos like that. Um, the highlight real nature of social media can increase feelings of dissatisfaction and negatively impact by creating unrealistic comparisons, which we talked about. So, feelings of isolation and loneliness. Let me just say this, just like I said, perfection does not exist. There are people that create um, and this whole persona on social media that maybe is partially true, but probably not mostly true of having this perfect life. Everyone faces challenges in their life. Everyone has certain experiences in their life. And when we watch people on TV and we think they have perfect lives, they don't. They go through the same things that we do. So don't think that everyone's life is perfect and your life sucks, because your life is what you choose to make it. And we get to make these choices. So don't compare yourself to these other people. Um, do your own thing. Do your own thing. Create your own channel. Grow your own channel. Be a leader. Don't be a follower. Um, and be mindful about how you lead, and be mindful of the way that things that you watched in the past made you feel, and how can you use that information to help others grow and expand and feel better about themselves, and use social media in a positive way. And if you do not know if something is true or not, do not keep sharing it. Gossip is so harmful, and it actually, you know, it's just really harmful. It hurts people on levels that we can't even begin to imagine unless you've been a victim. Okay. And there have been victims. I'm not talking about being in victim mentality. I'm talking about being an actual victim of like I said, harassment or stalking or things like that. I've had people take my profile picture, take my profile picture off of my social media page and take a picture of themselves and put it together like we were a couple, which was somebody I never saw before in my life, never knew, and spread it all over social media like we were a couple. I never knew the person, never met the person in my entire life. I've had that happen to me like 3 times now. Okay. So, and be mindful of these stalkers, women. You know who I'm talking about. They pretend to be doctors and lawyers and all these things, and they're all single with a child looking for a baby mama. With the they'll use this sympathy thing that they are widowers, okay, and they're just looking for no, they're up to no good is what they're up to. I'm not saying there aren't good people out there. I'm saying that there are people that get ideas from other people's real personal experiences and pain and use them in order to suck you in and then you'll find that they're asking you for money or where you live. Never, never give anyone your personal information or address or anything like that. And if you do make a close friend on social media and you decide you do want to meet with them or from one of these dating apps, make it in a public place. Make it in a public place, a public restaurant in a crowded area, so that you're not alone. So that if you need assistance, you can call someone for assistance, you know. So be mindful. Be mindful of your personal safety. So there's this paradoxical relationship that exists between social media, because we want to have this connection, but at the same time we're having this connection this way. Are you connecting outside of social media? Do you have friends outside of social media? Are you going out? Are you going out into the real world? Are you spending time with friends? Are you going dancing? Are you eating dinner out once in a while? Are you walking your dog with maybe, in the dog park where maybe you have other friends? Or, if you have small children in the playground, are you interacting where you're just interacting and you're not sitting on the bench looking down at your phone while your children are playing? Are you actually paying attention to the world and what is going on around you? I see people literally, I was at a red light and somebody was crossing the street. Their head was down the entire time, like this, texting on their phone. I'm like, do you even know that the light has turned green on my side? And technically, I'm supposed to go and you're looking down at your phone. Or how many people have tripped and fallen because they're looking at their phone and getting seriously hurt? Or while they're driving, um, texting on their phone. And, I mean, I'm guilty of putting my lipstick on while I'm driving. And like that was a really bad thing in my day. Now they're texting and driving. And, um, even with hands free, be mindful that you're still paying attention to the road, okay, while you're talking on the phone. Okay, because when you're talking, your mind is multitasking. You're talking, you're driving, you're turning the steering wheel, you're using the gas and the brake, and you're trying to pay attention to everything that's going on around you and talking at the same time. So you're basically multitasking. Be mindful of that. I try not to talk and drive. Okay. Um, what else? So they are finding that people that are spending 3 or more hours a day on social media have an overall reduction in their everyday life happiness. You're sucking the joy and the happiness out of your life. Okay. And they're finding that because they're comparing themselves to other people, that they're not satisfied with their lives. And it's interfering in relationships. There have been divorces over these things. Um, this focuses a lot on adolescence, but I believe this across the board. Okay. That no matter what your age, you could fall into this trap, especially if you're lonely and you think that social media is going to take away your loneliness. It's a temporary fix, people. It's like a drug. It becomes an addiction. And the way to make, and I'm not saying that you don't make real friends, because I have friends for on social media from I still have the very first friend that I made on social media, other than my daughter. Um, but and some of these people I've met in person, and some I haven't. Some are overseas, and we've become very, very, very close. But that's years and years of building a relationship, of building a friendship, people that I truly love and care about. It's not just a, hey, I met you on social media 3 months ago. Let's run away and get married kind of thing. It's you really need to be mindful, and do your research. Not everyone is who they say they are. Not everyone is who they say they are. Okay. So, disruption of healthy behaviors. sleep disturbances and poor quality of sleep because we're so worried about what other people say or think about us. Okay. Promotion of sedentary behavior and reduced physical activity. We're not getting up, we're not moving, we're not taking in nature, we're not doing healthy, normal things that we did before social media because we are glued to these things. Okay. You haven't y'all haven't seen me on social media a whole lot lately. I mean, I've been doing a lot of work, I've been doing a lot of research. I check in. Sometimes I take breaks. Even if so many people are working from home, working from laptops now, um, since the 2020 and the virus. And that's fully understandable, but take your breaks. I try to take a break every hour of at least 5 minutes. And then every 3 to 4 hours, I'm walking dogs anyway, so I'm taking a good 20-minute break there as well. So take the breaks. Okay, so we talked about social and relational consequences, how it can affect relationships, your real relationships, the people that you live with, because you're not paying attention to them, you're not doing things together anymore. Um, and maybe it's just watching that favorite program on TV. I'm not a big TV person, but maybe a movie on Netflix or something on Gaia or whatever it is that you belong to, or studying something new and that you might want to learn. Um, and then there's the cycle of addiction and excessive use, which I talked about, and the negative content exposure, which I talked about. And so that is basically it. So the conclusion of this study was, it says the analysis presented in this report underscores the significant and multifaceted negative impacts of social media on various aspects of health. Regarding mental health, social media engagement is linked to increased anxiety and stress, a higher risk of depression, lowered self-esteem, and negative body image, feelings of isolation and loneliness, and a reduction in overall happiness and life satisfaction. Furthermore, social media disrupts essential healthy behaviors, contributing to sleep disturbances, promoting um, sedentary lifestyles, and potentially fostering disordered eating and other unhealthy habits. And I did talk about that, how these girls are becoming anorexic, or they're purging after they eat because they want to look like these people that they're seeing on social media, which some of them aren't even real. Um, the social media and relational consequences of excessive social media are equally concerning, including negative impacts on the quality of real life relationships and social interactions, which we did talk about, and persuasive influence of social media comparison and the fear of missing out. We talked about that. The inherent design of social media platforms leveraging psychological reward mechanisms fosters addictive behaviors and cycles of excessive use, further exacerbating these negative health outcomes. Finally, the unrestricted exposure to negative and potentially harmful content online, ranging from distressing news to misinformation and harmful trends, poses a significant threat to both mental and physical well-being. These interconnected negative impacts highlight the critical need for continued research, increased public awareness, and the development of effective interactions aimed at mitigating the adverse effects of social media on individual and public health in the increasingly digital world. And behind all that, I just have where I did my research and where I got all of my information from. So that is it for this video. So I gave you a lot to think about. not only for yourselves, but for your children. We really, really want to be mindful of our children. And this video turned out to be longer than I thought it was going to be. But I think this is something that's really, really important that we all be mindful of this and don't fall into the social media trap that thinking that everything that we see is real. Um, and everyone is sharing the perfect life. I'm the first to tell you that my life is not perfect. I have a good life. I'm happy, but it wasn't always that way. And social media did not bring me my happiness. However, I will say on a positive note that some of the beautiful friends that I made through the years on social media really helped me navigate some really hard times in my life. It also, one of the positive things of social media, gave me the ability to access things that I was not able to access before, like learn astrology. I did learned astrology online. I taught astrology online. I learned so many things. So there's a lot of helpful tools that you can use out there. So take advantage of them. Take advantage of them. There's also the aspect of we can access all kinds of music for free on YouTube. Take advantage of that and make make positive things happen for you in your life. Things that are healthy for you. You don't have to follow the crowd. We don't always have to have the center stage. But if you have the strength and the resilience, and you are one of our young leaders, step up. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be you because you're beautiful and you're perfect just the way you are. So if you want to share something, share that. Share your genuineness. Share the ability to show strength under pressure. Because being young, there are a lot of pressures in life and show that everyone goes through these things. Be a leader, don't be a follower. And on the other hand, it's nice to have followers because they help us keep our channel going. And the likes are nice. And if you get them, fine. And if you don't get them, fine. But you can go in your back office and you can see who's watching. So you know who's watching you, whether they want to hit that like button or not. They might not want someone else to know what they're doing, but that doesn't mean that they're not learning something special from you. So share from your heart, share who you are, be genuine, be authentic, stand in your truth. You are in charge of you. You are a powerful being. Use it for positive things. Be blessed, be well. Remember to like and share this channel if you like it. If you don't like it, don't share it. But if you really truly like it and you want to help spread positive information in the world, share this with all of your family and friends and people that you know that have children or they themselves are being affected by this. And please share and please continue to follow us for more healthy tips. And I'm not sure what we're going to do next, but tomorrow, Sean and I will be filming again. So it will be a surprise. We surprise ourselves each and every day. So surprise yourself, step out of your comfort zone, do something positive for you, do something positive for the world. Lots of love. Mwah. Thank you for your support. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and share.